Hi, Chad. You nervous? A bit? You should be. Ladies and gentlemen, Chadwick, Royale, Bellefontaine, Edwards first heard about Camp Ronald McDonald for good times from a volunteer named Terry Crumb. He met through friends while working as an engineer for the Department of Defense. Carrie suggested he check out camp, and in 2002 he volunteered for the first time as a cabin counselor. I met Chad in the summer of 2004 during my first session as a counselor. If you're trying to do the math, I'm 32 years old. I was a young and don't laugh too hard at that. I was a young and sprightly new volunteer, and he was a young and sprightly, often sleeveless seasonal staff. Meeting Chad along with me happened to be another counselor, a freckled new volunteer named Mel. Chad would ultimately be recognized by camp and offered a full-time position. At the time, he was living in Virginia, so moving to Los Angeles to work for a nonprofit must have given him some pause. As Chad does, he weighed the options, then packed his car and, with Carrie Crumb, made the trek west. Chad has a rare ability to make everyone feel seen, heard, and cared for. When new families arrive to camp, Chad is often the first people to greet them, answer the questions, give a tour, and let them know what to expect. For first-time campers, Chad will give their parents a call on the first or second night just to let them know how their child is doing. In other words, Chad is the voice families have learned to trust and associate with camp. A volunteer and former camper said, "Chad was, and still is, exactly who I want to be when I grow up. As a camper, I always wanted him to say hi to me. When I transitioned to volunteering, I remember going through training and realizing how much thought and intention went into the experience that I and thousands of others had. My respect for Chad has skyrocketed, understanding that I didn't just look up to the cool guy, but I was looking up to one of the best guys I've ever been around." As a colleague, Chad embodies everything you want. He's competent, he's resourceful, approachable, and always mission-focused. He has been a rock for us, one coworker said. Over these 20 years, Chad's personal life has grown. He ended up marrying that freckled new volunteer, and they have 2 children and camp icons, Josie and Owen. Over the years, Chad has faced more than his fair share of challenges. Our camp lost Brian, and Chad had lost a mentor and a friend. We know Brian's hiking boots will never be filled, but Brian would be the first one to say they were never his alone, and that camp is and always will be for our camp families. Through his grief, Chad quietly stepped up and took on the role of camp director. Despite everything, he has shown resilience, humility, and strength. He's continued to be a steady and dependable person, balancing his personal and professional lives with incredible dedication to both. He has taught us that no matter how tough the times get, sometimes all you can do for anyone, even the love of your life, is just make them a cup of coffee and just be there. Chad doesn't survive difficult times, he grows through them. He finds the lesson and manages to come out of it, albeit with a few more gray hairs in his beard, even stronger. But that is who he is, always learning, always evolving, and showing up for those around him. Please enjoy this tribute to our friend Chad.
My daddy started working at camp in 2005, and that is where he met my mommy.
Listen close as I am to you. Like the bell of liberty, I'll ring a sound that's true. by, and seasons too. In time, our love may digress with the words we can renew. Oh, I'll tell you that I love you by and by. And I don't know if I'd survive without a friend like you in my life.
My daddy left his job because he makes everybody feel happy.
This web we weave holds us hand in hand, and if we loosen our grips, we may weaken these strands. So let's reinforce our love and let it echo through the land. And if we don't, we may find ourselves washed up with the sand. Oh, I'll tell you that I love you by and by. And I don't know if I'd survive without a friend like you in my life. Oh, I'll tell you that I love you by and by. I don't know if I'd survive without a friend like you in my life.
Congratulations, Daddy, for working at camp 20 years. I'm so proud of what you do for the families. I love you.
I invite you all to raise a glass to celebrate a truly remarkable person, our friend Chad.
I was good until Josie's voice came on. That got me. That was mean. That was recent. Thank you, Lisa. Whew. 20 years. It's been a ride. You know, life's funny in that you don't know what you need until it finds you. And I'm thankful camp found me. And like Lisa said, it found me in the most random place. You know, the deeper dive into that is that it was a couple of months after 9/11, and I was sitting in the desert of New Mexico, posing as a terrorist group, looking for vulnerabilities in the U.S. satellite system, when I was told about camp. The most random place, in the darkest time, brought this light. And I said I had to try it. And Lisa told you the story about just where it went from that. And after that first volunteer session, I realized what I was missing in life. I was missing a community. And I found this camp community. The people in this room. A group of like-minded but highly unique individuals dedicated to a common cause, a great cause, of lifting families who've been devastated by cancer and doing it with their whole heart. And I didn't know what I was going to do when I left that job, and I knew I had to do something like camp. I knew that was the path I wanted to be on, and I didn't know how. So I kept volunteering. And then fortune in the universe decided to shine on me and offer me this opportunity. And like Misa told you, I couldn't say no. So I took a leap. And I came out here, and it was the best decision I've ever made. I'm privileged, I know, that I get to do this for a job. I get to serve the most amazing humans in the world and our families and kids. These are the best people you ever meet. Some in this room. And then I get to see these kids grow up at camp. and many of which come back as volunteers. There's a lot in the room. Give me a shout if you're a former camper. Former back. Look at that. Back tables in the back. Make sure you talk to those former campers. Best people you ever meet in your life. And what a gift that that's what I get to do. I'm so thankful for everything camp has brought me. And camp has been the most impactful thing in my entire life. As Misa told you, I met my wife at camp. We got married at camp. We had our first child, Josie, in the middle of a summer camp session. That was wild, let me tell you. But she was up. We brought her up to camp for 5th session that summer, I believe. So her first thing she did was go to camp. I've met my best friends in the world at camp. Camp's made me who I am today. I had the privilege of working with Brian for 18 and a half years. Best 18 and a half years ever. And I'm just so thankful for what he did for me and for everyone here. It's just been a gift, and I just can't say that enough. You know, it's been a year of twists and turns. It's been a few years of twists and turns and ups and downs in the path along the way. And no matter the changes that came with camp, no matter those twists and turns, no matter who was here, who wasn't here, there was one group that was always here. And that's that group who was here from the beginning. Those volunteers, those supporters, like people in this room. We come and go, but you haven't. So we faced difficult times, but you kept us afloat. You are our buoys. And I don't think a lot of you realize that we've had some tough times at camp, but you kept us lifted. And we can never begin to thank you enough. And this past year, you know, the path that we've been on as a family, you know, had a big curveball thrown our way. A big one in our life. And the first group that stepped up was the camp community. It lifted my family so high and kept us so supportive that we couldn't be where we are right now without our camp community. So 20 years is a blink of an eye in the grand scheme. It has meant so much to me and my family that I could never begin to describe. And I could spend another 20 years trying to say thank you to this community, these volunteers, our supporters, our kids, our volunteers, the most amazing human beings this world offers. And I could spend another 20 years trying to say thank you, and it would not capture how I truly feel. But I sure as hell would like to try. So my hope is to be here for another 20. And for tonight, this is just beautiful. Thank you all. I love you all. Have a wonderful evening.